Did y'all watch those NBA Christmas Day games this year? Because I did. And let me tell you, I had an experience watching all those games on Christmas Day. It was my first time doing it. Let's talk about what I experienced watching the NBA all day on Christmas Day.
Sipping eggnog, got my phone in hand. Comments light up like a Christmas wonderland. Haters in the comments don't understand the game. Talking trash but can't spell LeBron James.
Now, obviously, this is a different video than usual. This is definitely going in the About Me playlist on this channel. I don't know exactly what kind of basketball insights I'm going to be able to provide in this video to make you a better basketball player. I'll try to work in some stuff. I'm sure some stuff will just work itself in organically, but this video is pretty much about my experience watching the full day of games on Christmas Day 2024 and what I learned from it, and hopefully what I can share with you guys as well. So a little bit of backstory with me, and you guys can skip ahead. I'll put the time marker down so you guys can skip ahead if you don't want to hear the backstory. But the backstory with me is I grew up an only child. So not only that, but nobody in my family when I was growing up had any kind of interest in anything that I had an interest in. And that definitely included basketball or any kind of sports, really. So like on Thanksgiving, when we'd get together as a family, no football. We would never watch football when we got together as a family on Thanksgiving. I'd be dying to watch football. Not because I'm a super huge football fan. I'm kind of a tiny, like small football fan. But it was just sort of the idea of like football is a integral part of Thanksgiving in America. You're supposed to watch football on Thanksgiving, and I like sports and competitiveness in general, so like, yeah, on Thanksgiving, I want to watch football. But I was the only one, so we never did, and football was never on. Same thing with basketball at Christmas. And because I'm a basketball guy, I'd be dying to watch basketball, the NBA on Christmas. Like Kobe and Shaq would be playing, and I'd be like, oh, come on, I gotta watch these games. But I would be at family's house, and there'd be no games on, and it would be terrible for me. It's not till like this part of my life now, where I'm older and I'm an adult, where, you know, the family gatherings are smaller and you spend less time at them. So now I have more time to actually watch sports on those, you know, specific holidays. Now, the ideal scenario would be like just my whole family would be into sports, and on those holidays, we'd all, like, part of the reason and fun of getting together would be so that we could all watch and enjoy the games together. But that's not the way it is. So now that I'm older and the family gatherings are smaller and shorter, I have more an opportunity to actually watch the sports now. So for this year, 2024 was the first year I got to watch every NBA game while having, you know, Christmas with my family. Also, when I was an active player a long time ago, I did watch the NBA. I was a very hardcore fan of the NBA, but mostly because I was studying the NBA. To study the players and coaches and strategy to figure out what they did that could help me be a better player. But once I stopped playing, when I retired, I stopped watching. But then when I started this channel again, I started watching the NBA, even though it was as a casual fan. Like I would only occasionally watch like national games. Like I would watch the Christmas Day games and I would watch the playoffs. But other than that, it was much more hit than miss, and I would actually watch, you know, a random NBA game on a random night. Back when I was a player, right, and I was watching and I was studying, like social media such a long time ago didn't exist. So I wasn't on social media at all, let alone while I was watching the games. But now, as I'm watching the games, whenever there's a dead ball situation, the many dead ball situations, timeouts, commercials, and now with all the challenges that happen, free throws as well. If it's a dead ball situation, I'm on social media going through the biggest, you know, mainstream NBA accounts that are associated with the NBA. I'm a Facebook guy, so I'm mostly on Facebook while I'm doing this. So, you know, when you get like the NBA itself or NBA TV or the NBA on ESPN or TNT, those big sort of NBA associated accounts, during the games, they post like highlights of the games. And I would go under those posts as this channel and I would like reply to whatever highlights or whatever post it was that was going on about the current game that I was watching. I would reply to the posts. And I found that the more I was in the comment sections of those big NBA posts, that I would bring more attention to the channel. I didn't expect to do that. It was just like, well, I'm watching the game and there's a dead ball situation anyway, so I would be on social media anyway, so I might as well go on there as the channel and make comments. And I wasn't trying to when I first started, but I found it brought attention to the channel. So from then on, whenever I would watch a nationally televised game, I would make posts. I'd make replies on posts that those big NBA social media accounts would make. So much so to the point where now whenever I do watch, I make it appointment viewing to watch whatever nationally televised games I can, especially on big special occasions like Christmas Day. So while I was watching all of the Christmas Day games, I was down in the Facebook comment section, always making comments and always trying to bring attention to the channel. However, let me be clear, it doesn't come from a shallow perspective, right? I'm not trying to bring attention to the channel just for the sake of having attention. When I make a reply to whatever post, I do deliberately try to have that comment be substantive. I try to have it have substance to it, right? So it's not just some random means nothing kind of comment. It has to have some kind of substance to it. It can be lighthearted, it can be a joke, it can be like trying to have some fun, but it still has to have some kind of substance to it, because my idea is like, okay, the people that don't know me and don't know the channel, have never seen it before, they see my comment, they see that it's kind of a lighthearted, it's kind of fun, and it does also actually have some substance to it. So if they choose to go down the rabbit hole and find me on YouTube, they go in knowing like, okay, the channel, they go in knowing that what I'm going to be talking about, whatever content I'm putting out that they're not yet aware of, is going to have substance to it. So the comments are to get attention, but they're also to put out there a little bit of a sampling of like, okay, here's the substance of my channel. And of course, because it's social media, you got to expect there's going to be a whole lot of negativity, a whole lot of trolls, a whole lot of terrible things and people that take place on social media. I'm aware of that. It's not new to me. I completely expect that. It's not surprising to me. But I would say because most of the comments that I make are substantive, I don't even know if that's a word, but because they have substance to them and because they're usually lighthearted and because they're either lighthearted and trying to be funny, or it's just like giving, if the highlight of a player and he's doing something well, it's like me trying to give that player his flowers. So it's usually on the positive end of the spectrum. I'm usually making a positive comment. Sometimes I do make negative comments if I feel it's justified and needed, necessary to do so. But the vast majority of comments that I make are either lighthearted or positive, and they have some substance to them. So the replies I get to the comments I make are usually neutral at best. Like it's usually, someone liking the comment or agreeing with me in some way. And so that's usually the response and the interaction I get on those posts. But of course, I'd say about, in general, 20% of the feedback I get, the interaction I get, are negative trolls who are just looking for drama and trying to start a fight and conflict and all of that. I expect that, it doesn't bother me. I get that that's just the way the internet works. Thankfully, because of the comments that I make, 80% is at least neutral, if not positive, but you always get that 20%. What I didn't anticipate, however, was when I finally got to watch all 5 of the consecutive NBA games on Christmas Day, and I was in the Facebook comments all day because of it, that percentage of negativity went up from like 20% up to like 40%. And I didn't expect that at all. I expected it to be the same as it always had been, but what I didn't realize and what I came to understand was Christmas Day for basketball fans, apparently, maybe I'm wrong, but this is the way it appeared to me in my experience, is that Christmas Day for basketball fans is like how St. Patrick's Day is for people who don't usually drink. On St. Patrick's Day, you get a whole bunch of people who don't normally drink, who now flood the bars and all that, and it's a complete disaster because all of those amateurs are there. To me, that's the Christmas Day basketball equivalent when it comes to the NBA. Like Christmas Day is the first day of the year where basketball is that exposed to national TV, and it's sort of the unofficial kind of real start to the NBA season. That's when, if you're a basketball fan and you don't really watch the NBA when it starts in October, you really make it an appointment to tune in for the Christmas Day games. Even though you're not really that much of a fan, you're pretty casual. You like the game, but you don't take it seriously, so you don't really understand it all that well. But you tune in to make sure to watch the games, or at least your favorite game, your favorite team player on Christmas Day. So I'm down in the comments like usual, and I am getting many more comments than usual about people disagreeing with, whatever statement I would make. And again, I am not looking for drama. I'm not trying to fight. I'm not trying to start any fights. I'm not trying to be inflammatory. I have no interest in that at all. If I'm going to bring attention to the channel, it's going to be through having comments that are lighthearted and have some substance to them. But I'm not trying to start any fights or drama. I'm not looking for that ever at all. Some of the stuff I do say is kind of controversial and kind of inflammatory sometimes, but if that's the case, it's only because I genuinely feel that way, not because I'm trying to start anything. So don't be confused like, it's like, I'm trying to get attention to the channel, but I'm doing it in like a nefarious way where it's like I'm making kind of crazy, outlandish statements just to have people's eyes on the channel or anything like that. That's not the case at all. I'd rather have people come to the channel who want substance and are intrigued by, my lightheartedness and my funniness and my positivity. I'd rather invite those people to the channel than people that actually want drama and conflict. So on Christmas Day, I'm making the regular the same kind of comments I always make. Right? Lighthearted, good intention, positive comments about stuff. And now I'm getting way more hate than I normally get, like double. And I'm like, why is this happening? And then I realized, Christmas. Many people on social media watching the games that don't normally because they're not normal, like they're not real fans of the NBA or of the game of basketball. Therefore, they don't know the game like I do. I have 30 years in this, and I've taken it very seriously throughout those 30 years. And so it doesn't make sense for me to expect everybody else to be on the same level basketball-wise as I am. Not only that, but that doesn't mean I'm right about everything all the time either. Like the comments I make are just opinions. And so I'm fine if people disagree with my opinions, because it's just my opinion. Like, it's okay for you to disagree. The problem comes in when the hate comes in, and the hate takes the form of personal attacks. Like, the majority of the negative comments I get, the negative interaction, is just like people showing up on some kind of opinion I put, and then their reaction to it is to call me stupid, to call me a clown, to call me names, to say I don't understand the game. And all of that is nonsense, because it's like those personal attacks, number one, are crazy because, to them, I'm just a stranger on the internet, just like they're a stranger on the internet to me. How are you going to give a personal attack to someone who's a stranger on the internet? Second of all, they call me clowns, they call me stupid, they say I don't know the game. That's not really meant for me. Like, that's not meant to make me feel bad, because obviously it's not going to. I know me. I know my skill. I know my experience. I know that I have 30 years of studying basketball under my belt. I've taken it more seriously than 99% of all of fans that have ever existed, and I'm confident in that. So it's not like them calling me a clown or saying that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not like it's suddenly going to change my attitude and be like, I guess I just don't know what I'm talking about. I guess I don't know the game. It's like, that's not going to happen. I know that I know the game. It's like, no matter what they say, they can't. That's crazy for them to say that, especially because they don't know me. So them calling me a clown is not for me. It's not like them trying to get at me. Them calling me a clown and saying I'm stupid and don't know the game is so that other people, when they read their comment to me, hopefully those other people will then, they'll pile on to that comment and go, yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a clown. And it's a whole, like, they want people to pile on. That's why they make those crazy comments like I don't know what I'm talking about. The process that takes place is they disagree with what I said, which is fine, right? They can disagree. But my thing is like, if you're going to disagree, then either don't comment at all and just keep your disagreement to yourself. But if you do disagree, and I hope you do comment, the only thing I ask is like, tell me how and why you disagree. When you don't do that at all and you just call me a clown and it's just all hatred and negativity, to me, the reason it irritates me so much is because it's just a waste of everybody's time. There's such ignorance there because I'm all for, you telling me why you disagree. And, so that maybe there's something I don't know or something I haven't thought about or something I haven't taken into account, and then I can learn from you. There have been plenty of comments where I've said something, I've put an opinion out there, and someone said, yeah, but this player had done this and this, and he has this stats. And I go, oh, I'm more of a casual fan than you are, at least for that particular player. I'm definitely more casual than you are, meaning you know more than me. So I'm glad that they said, yeah, I understand the comment that I made, but then they say, okay, but this is what the player did as well. And I go, oh, that's a good point, right? I'm fine. I'm not stuck in my opinion, right? I can be corrected because being corrected means I know more and I get better. I do think I'm pretty knowledgeable about the games, but like, if we're talking about like individual players or teams and like the stats they put up and all that kind of stuff, no, there's many players that probably know that stuff way better than I do. Because I have no favorite player. I have no favorite team. I don't follow anybody. I certainly don't follow stats and stuff like that. So when fans and commenters point that stuff out to me, I'm perfectly fine with going, oh, okay, that's a good point. That's a valid point. And I like that. I like the rare instances when you can have a discussion with another respectable, knowledgeable fan, because we then have a real rapport with each other. And we can learn from each other, and we go away from that interaction just feeling better about that interaction, because most interactions on social media are either neutral and have nothing of substance to them, or they're negative, right? So when you do have those positive interactions where you actually do discuss and have a actual real debate, when you can actually like learn from each other and you're open to learning from each other and getting better, as opposed to when your automatic response to something you disagree with is to personally attack that person. That is annoying to me because it's ignorant. It doesn't accomplish anything. It's just you trying to get other people to pile on to that person that you disagree with. You don't even say, I disagree. You just call them a clown so that everybody else will call them a clown too and agree with you. That's annoying to me because it's a waste of time and nothing is gained from it. No positivity at all is gained. No knowledge, no camaraderie, nothing is gained from that. That's why it irritates me so much. So because this is a basketball channel where we explore all kinds of crazy, far of in the corners kind of small basketball topics that most players don't talk about or consider, when it comes to the topic of interacting on social media with basketball accounts and other basketball fans on social media, my advice is, if you're going to because here's the deal, right? When you love the game as much and in the fashion that we do, and so we try to, immerse ourselves as much as we possibly can in every aspect of the game we can possibly think of. Nowadays, that includes like being on basketball social media and interacting with other people. When you do that, my advice for how to do it is whatever you say, just have substance to it. Have reasoning, have thought into it. It doesn't have to be a super long comment or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be well thought out. It just has to have some kind of substance to it. Meaning, if someone challenges what you say, you can justify the comment, the opinion that you have. You can justify it. You can explain it if need be. Don't just throw out random stuff in terms of interactions, comments, whatever, just because you can. If you're going to interact, have that interaction have some kind of substance to it. Secondly, do the best you can to have those interactions be positive, because we're all involved in the world universe of basketball because we all like basketball. We love it. We enjoy it. It's fun. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have fun interacting with other basketball people, whether it be on the court or on social media. It's supposed to be fun and engaging in a positive way. So when you do engage in social media, try to have it be positive. At the very least, try to have it be lighthearted and make jokes while at the same time still having substance. There are going to be some things where you feel no choice but to be compelled to make some kind of negative comment. That's inevitably going to happen. So yes, sometimes if it's justified and you can explain why you're taking the negative stance that you're taking, okay, make a negative comment if it's justified. But for the most part, try to be positive and lift people up instead of, the opposite, where people are just on social media because they hate their lives, they're miserable, and they're trying to drag you down with them. I know that sounds cliche, but that's exactly what's taking place. People that are miserable in real life hop on social media and they're negative on social media because they want everybody else to be, miserable with them. That's like a cliche, but it's absolutely true. So when you, as a basketball lover, are interacting with basketball social media, try to be positive, have fun, make jokes, be positive, have substance, give people their flowers, players their flowers, be complimentary. If someone makes a good point, like in the comment section, if someone says something and it makes a good point, tell them, let them know, a good point, you know what I mean? Valid point, that kind of stuff. Be positive towards people, be lifting, and don't let, the many trolls out there that are going to try to bait you into being negative and to fight with them and have drama with them. Don't allow yourself to be baited into that. For me, it's pretty easy because I see right through them. I see, when someone says I'm a clown, that's ridiculous. And I know it's ridiculous. So I don't interact with them. I don't get baited into going back and forth. No, I'm not a clown. This is why I'm not. No, I'm not going to try to justify myself to someone who doesn't know me, and their immediate response to disagreeing with me about anything is to have a personal attack on me. I'm not going to do that. It's not worth the time, the effort, and definitely not worth the stress. I did get baited in a little bit towards the end of Christmas Day after I had been on Facebook all day long dealing with more negativity, double the negativity that I'm used to. Now I'm irritated. I don't remember the game or the player, unfortunately, but the player, there was a post that said the player had 33 points and had 18 assists. And so I said, or it was 33 and 12 or something like that. Super high, double-double. Under that post, I commented and said, oh, that player contributed more, about half that team's points because the team scored, they won, and they scored about 118 points or something like that. I said, oh, that player, I applauded him and I was like, well, he's responsible for that, for half of that team's points. I got a reply to that by somebody who said, oh, he had 33 points, so I guess math isn't your strong suit. And like I said, by that time, I was already irritated. So I'm feeling real petty by then. So my response to him was okay, if you think my math is wrong, then go ahead. Please prove me wrong. I will literally wait for you to come back in these comments and prove me wrong that player with 33 points and 12 assists didn't have, was responsible for at least half that team's scoring. That's what my reply to him was. And then I waited 10 or 15 minutes and I came back to that post and he had not replied to me. So I posted again. I said, hey, I'm still waiting. Professor, you challenged me on this. You didn't have to. You could have, you didn't have to, insult me, but you did. You chose to, and you're clearly wrong. But okay, if you're not, prove me wrong then. If you're not wrong, then you prove me wrong, right? I went back and I made a second reply to him, even though he didn't reply back to me, because I'm irritated. I'm feeling real petty, right? I go back 10 or 15 minutes later, post is gone, right? And that means he either deleted it or he probably blocked me, which would not be the first time that happened. He knew that I was right and he was wrong. But instead of doing the adult thing, the decent person thing, which would have been oh man, I got that wrong. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I wasn't thinking about the assists, or I didn't factor that in, or taking accountability and internalizing that mistake and saying, man, I didn't mean to call you out. My bad. I don't want him to kiss my feet and grandly apologize or anything, but just acknowledge that you were wrong and thereby acknowledging that I was right, right? It doesn't have to be some grand apology or anything, but if you're wrong and you got proven wrong, then just say you're wrong and then we can learn from each other, and then I would have taken away that would have been to me a positive interaction. But because he just blocked me because I proved him wrong and made him look stupid, he blocked me, and therefore nothing was gained from that interaction. Probably also, like, he blocked me, so I'm guessing that, like, that deleted that whole, like, section of comments, so, like, nobody else, no other stranger could come along and read how I put him in his place. So, like, because nobody else can see that, then nobody learns from it, then, like, there's just nothing that was gained from that. It was just a waste of his time, waste of my time. So when you do interact on NBA or basketball social media, be positive, be lighthearted, you know, have substance, and try to uplift people when you can. That's probably the point of this video. Also, it's for me to vent and rant about my crazy Christmas Day ordeal. Like, I just didn't expect, you know what I mean? Like, you're with your family and you're trying to be in the holiday spirit, and, like, at the same time, I'm getting super irritated by these unnecessary trolls and their unnecessary ignorance and hatred and personal attacks that mean nothing. It's just wasting everybody's time just so they can try to get other stupid, ignorant people to pile onto me. And yeah, it's only like 40% of the interaction, but it's still like, I just wish it was way less than that. I wish it was like way less than like 5%. That would be ideal. But the fact that it was like 40% on Christmas Day of all days is like, because it was so unexpected, it was that much more irritating and annoying. So I don't know why you watched this video if you did watch it, but if you did watch it and you found it helpful or entertaining or anything positive, then, you know, you can always subscribe to the channel. That would be great. And, you know, to help us get better as a basketball, you know, society, let us know down in the comments, like, how do you deal with basketball interactions on social media? Like, what's your strategy for dealing with all that, especially all the negative stuff that can take place? But before you comment, make sure you hit that thanks button down below, because not only does hitting that thanks button make all of your comments highlighted and thus stand out from any other comment, but hitting that thanks button directly supports the channel. So for anyone that does hit that thanks button, no, I genuinely appreciate it. And as always, like, share, comment, like I said. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever any video goes live on this channel. And until then, see you guys next week.
Trolls on my page think they know it all, acting like a Shaq trying to dunk on my wall. But I got the skills, I keep it real. Block 'em like the Kembe, no appeal.